Chapter 41 Make a Lot of Money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Obviously time is very urgent now, because they don't know when the battle at the city gate will spread to this area, so at this time, Uncle Scar felt a little anxious. The treasure house of the demonic blood sect must be hidden very deep, and it would not be easy to find it in a short time, but at this time, Ye Feng slowly closed his eyes. The powerful perception transformed by the golden magic pill quickly spread out like a radar, covering the entire central hall. Little Feng, are you still in the mood to close your eyes and rest at this time? Seeing Ye Feng's eyes closed, Uncle Scar immediately said anxiously. Found it. But at this time, Ye Feng suddenly opened his eyes and suddenly made a sound. What? Found it? Uncle Scar looked suspicious and said, Feng boy, are you sure? Just follow me. Ye Feng smiled confidently and walked to a golden dragon chair in the center of the hall. He stretched out his hand and slapped the golden dragon chair, and his powerful energy exploded. Boom! The gold shattered and rocks flew. Under the broken dragon chair, a deep hole appeared on the ground. It's an underground passage. Uncle Scar's eyes were surprised. He looked at Ye Feng again at this time, with an unbelievable look in his eyes. If he came alone, he might have to demolish the entire central hall to find this secret passage, but Ye Feng just closed his eyes and found the specific location of the secret passage in the treasure house. Little Feng, I really doubt that you are the son of some powerful human race, or the heir of some ancient family who came out to travel around the world. Uncle Scar spoke up and stared at Ye Feng, very curious. If I were really what you think, would I have such a low level of cultivation? Ye Feng glanced at him and said, then jump into the secret passage. That's right, this is what's weird about me. Uncle Scar nodded, his eyes full of doubts, but he didn't think much and followed Ye Feng into the secret passage. After all, the most important thing now is to find the treasure house. The secret passage under the dragon chair seems to be very long. The two people fell freely for nearly half a minute before they touched the ground. How spectacular. Ye Feng and Uncle Scar looked at everything in front of them with surprised expressions. This is an extremely huge underground space. The tops of the surrounding earth and stone walls are inlaid with luminous pearls, emitting bright light in the darkness. However, the two of them really had no interest in these luminous pearls, because the luminous pearl is just a common treasure. It is of little use to cultivators. The whole group walked towards the depths of the underground space. Soon they crossed a long underground river and arrived at the other end of the long underground river. There are many white withered bones lying on the ground here. There is an altar at the front, and there are 6 portals around the altar. They are all portals made of space spiritual stones. Ye Feng's eyes lit up. Each of these 6 portals was much larger than the one he encountered before in the cave in the wilderness area of Xianxia village. It's all mine. Like a hungry wolf, Ye Feng pounced on them, smashed all 6 portals with his sword, and put the space spirit stones into the storage spirit rings. 6 huge portals, a total of 9,000 yuan is precious, the ultimate space spirit stone. It was put into his pocket by Ye Feng. This kid has really never seen the world. He is a bunch of rubbish. So excited. Uncle Scar muttered from the side. Big money. Ye Feng was happy. This adventure goes deep into the demonic city mansion. Even if you only get these 9,000 space spirit stones, you will still make a lot of money. There are a total of 9,000 space spirit stones. If he absorbs all the power of space, Ye Feng knows very well that his understanding of the mysteries of space will reach a new level. I found the treasure. There's a stone chamber here. Uncle Scar's scream sounded not far away. Ye Feng walked over immediately, and he also took a sharp breath of air. This is in a huge underground stone chamber. Uncle Scar was lying among piles of sparkling top-quality spiritual stones, his expression full of intoxication. That's right. Piles of top-quality spiritual stones, emitting colorful light, piled up into hills. What a huge wealth is this! Ye Feng immediately walked over and quickly collected the dozen or so storage rings he wore on his 10 fingers. Wow! Wow! Pieces of glittering top-quality spiritual stones were mixed together, as if they had become a long river of spiritual stones, and Ye Feng frantically absorbed them into his storage spiritual ring. Not far away on the other side, Uncle Scar was happily collecting spiritual stones with a storage ring. He suddenly saw the scene on Ye Feng's side and was immediately frightened. Holy crap! Boy Feng, you actually prepared a dozen storage rings? Uncle Scar was shocked. He didn't expect Ye Feng to be so well prepared. Ye Feng ignored Uncle Scar and just said, as promised before, enter the treasure house and grab things according to your ability, ahaha. Your sister. Uncle Scar, who had always been unfathomable, cursed at this time. He suddenly felt that he shouldn't have brought Ye Feng, a brat like him, with him. Wow, Uncle Scar couldn't help it anymore, and finally stopped hiding and used his trump card. A huge sack appeared in his hand, but it was no ordinary sack. He opened the mouth of the sack, and a strong and huge suction force erupted, and a small mountain-sized pile of spiritual stones was absorbed into it. This is, the legendary Qianquan bag. Not far away, Ye Feng's eyes were startled. In his last life, he was the son of the God Emperor. Although he had never left the palace of the God of Creation, he still had basic eyesight. That's right, it's the Qianquan bag. Uncle Scar triumphantly took over another spiritual stone mountain and winked at Ye Feng, as if to say, you see, I'm not a vegetarian either. There's still room in there. Ye Feng had collected a dozen spirit stone mountains at this time, and Uncle Scar had also collected 6 or 7 spirit stone mountains. They continued walking deeper into the treasure house area of the underground space and came to the second stone chamber. In this second stone chamber, there are dozens of rows of shelves, and on each row of shelves are hung many high-grade soldiers and armors. There are demon swords with astonishing murderous intent, long knives blooming with cyan. Divine light, large halberds shrouded in black demonic aura, and spiritual weapon armor inlaid with colorful spiritual stones. Grab it! Uncle Scar roared excitedly and immediately rushed forward, quickly filling it with the sack in his hand. Chapter 42 Puppet Man. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Feng was naturally not to be outdone. He waved a dozen storage rings on his fingers and rows of weapons and armors were collected. A few minutes later, the second stone chamber also became empty. There is also a third stone chamber. Ye Feng and Uncle Scar continued to go deeper. They were standing at the entrance of the third stone chamber, but the entrance was blocked by a huge bronze door. The bronze door is of great weight and requires a key to open. I come, Uncle Scar screamed and pulled out the butcher's knife from his waist. Suddenly, the magic power was overwhelming, and an unparalleled magic light struck the giant bronze door in an instant. Boom! But in the end, the giant bronze door only made a dull metal collision sound, and only a shallow knife mark was left on the surface of the shiny bronze door. What? I can't even split this ancestral butcher's knife. Uncle Scar was dumbfounded and couldn't help shouting, Boy Feng, think of a way quickly. There must be extremely precious treasures stored in the third stone chamber guarded by such a hard bronze door. Uncle Scar's eyes were red, excited and anxious. Let me try. Ye Feng pulled out the rusty sword, and the Sword King released his sword intent, casting a cold sword light and striking the giant bronze door. But the result was the same as Uncle Scar, only a shallow sword mark was left. This giant bronze door is too hard, this is the only way. Ye Feng communicated with the secret seeds of space in his body, and made a sharp stroke towards the giant bronze door from afar. Crack! A cold space crack appeared. It was like the sharpest magic weapon in the world. It cut the giant bronze door in half without any pause. The power of space is really terrifying. Ye Feng was shocked. What a terrifying space crack. You kid has really comprehended the legendary power of space. This is so unbelievable. Uncle Scar's rough face was stunned and his eyes rolled straight. A monster like you shouldn't appear in a small place like the Great Yen Dynasty. At this time, although the giant bronze door was cut in half by the spatial crack, it did not fall down, but a thin line-like gap appeared in the middle. Through the gap, the two saw a black corpse sitting cross-legged in a third stone chamber. At the front of the black corpse, there are 3 simple stone boxes. And it is unknown what is contained in them. Is this third stone chamber the place where the Demon King and the Demon Blood sect fell? Uncle Scar suddenly said in surprise, Boy Feng, have you seen those 3 stone boxes? They must be the inheritance of the Demon King. Use space cracks to cut all the bronze doors into pieces. Let's go in quickly. This is a huge opportunity. At this time, Uncle Scar was very excited, and his eyes were full of fire through the gap in the giant bronze door. Ye Feng also saw it, but his voice was a little solemn and said, the Demon Blood sect built the Demon City originally to resurrect their Demon Lord. Last time, it was just a mark of the Demon Lord, which made me embarrassed. Here is the Demon Lord, the place of inheritance, we'd better be careful. Little Feng, I can't guarantee anything else, but no matter how powerful the Demon Lord is here, you can rest assured. Uncle Scar suddenly spoke up. With a strong and confident smile on his face, he waved the butcher knife in his hand and said, this knife of mine is specially designed to restrain any existence in the devil's way. Real? Ye Feng stared at Uncle Scar with suspicious eyes and said, don't fool me. If anything happens in the Demon Lord's inheritance place, I will be the first to do so. If you run away, I won't care about you. Believe me. Uncle Scar gave Ye Feng a reassuring look. Ye Feng nodded. Buzz. He communicated with the secret seeds of space in his body, and quickly drew his hands across the air at the giant bronze door. Crack. Crack, every time Ye Feng made a stroke, a cold and dark space crack appeared, cutting out transparent gaps in the giant bronze door. If my understanding of the mysteries of space were to a higher level, every time I draw, what will appear is not 1 space crack, but 2, or even 3 space cracks. Ye Feng thought in his mind, it is said that one day when I understand the secret of space to the extreme, dozens, or even thousands of space cracks will appear with the wave of my hand. Thinking about that scene makes me feel terrible. Boom, at this time, after Ye Feng used space cracks to cut more than a dozen times, the entire giant bronze door was in pieces. Boom, Ye Feng punched out fiercely, and powerful qi exploded. He directly smashed the giant bronze door into pieces, and countless bronze fragments flew around. Whoa! Whoa! The 2 of them stepped into the 3rd stone chamber in one step, which was also the last stone chamber. The entire huge stone chamber was empty except for that mysterious black skeleton, sitting cross-legged in the middle of the stone chamber. In front of the black skeleton, there are 3 stone boxes. Ye Feng stepped forward, ready to take a look at what was inside the 3 stone boxes. Be careful of fraud. Uncle Scar pulled him and took out a small puppet from his arms, stuffed a top-quality spiritual stone into a groove behind the puppet man. Crunch. Crunch. Immediately, the palm-sized puppet began to walk towards the stone box. This is the legendary puppet. Do you have it? Ye Feng looked at the little puppet walking step by step, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he stared at Uncle Scar. This Uncle Scar is becoming more and more mysterious, with many tricks on him. Ahem. Uncle Scar coughed twice and said, when I was traveling in the world in the early years, I collected some gadgets, but I didn't expect that they would come in handy today. As he spoke, he tightly covered the Qianquan bag in his arms, as if he was afraid that Ye Feng would steal his Qianquan bag. Click. At this time, the little puppet man walked to the first stone box and opened the stone box. Ye Feng and Uncle Scar looked over and found an ancient book lying quietly in the first stone box. The true devil's body. 4 big characters were written on the cover of the book. Uncle Scar walked over, put the book in his arms, and said, it seems that this is the inheritance of the Demon Lord, so I will accept it. You kid probably doesn't need the inheritance of the Demon Lord. Ye Feng nodded. He really didn't need it. The Demon Lord's inheritance might be very noble to other people, but for Ye Feng, he possesses the most unique divine secret of creation in the 9 heavens and 10 earths, the Demon Lord's inheritance technique, so he naturally has no interest. The contents of the second stone box are mine. Ye Feng said this. Uncle Scar nodded and said, I came here mainly for the inheritance of the Demon Lord, that is, this set of true demon's body. After practicing to a great extent, you can condense the true demon's body. Let the body become as powerful as the real demon in ancient legends. Whatever is in the second box, take it, Mr. Feng. Chapter 43 Recovery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Feng glanced at Uncle Scar in surprise and said, "Are you practicing magic?" Uncle Scar shook his head, smiled mysteriously, and said, "Yes, and no." Ye Feng was confused and said, "What do you mean?" Uncle Scar suddenly stretched out his hand, and a ball of true energy appeared in his palm. That ball of true energy included pure yang true energy, demonic energy, and several other attributes of true energy that Ye Feng could not identify. Multi-attribute qi. Ye Feng's eyes moved and he said, "You actually practice the qi and inheritance of various attributes at the same time?" Uncle Scar chuckled and said, "Don't spread this secret, otherwise I will be hunted down by some Gu family members." Ye Feng nodded, feeling more and more that the owner of the tavern in this small town was very mysterious and had an extraordinary identity. Seeing that Ye Feng stopped saying anything, Uncle Scar suddenly asked, "Boy Feng, aren't you curious about my powerful inheritance? Don't you want it?" Obviously, Uncle Scar met many people, even ancestor-level experts, who coveted his inheritance and wanted to plunder it. Ye Feng smiled slightly and said, "I have my own way. I have my own way." Uncle Scar murmured, his eyes stunned, and then he glanced at Ye Feng with admiration and said, "Good boy, if you don't die young, you will definitely achieve unlimited achievements in the future." At this time, Uncle Scar finally really paid attention to this junior Ye Feng. Crunch. At this time, the little puppet man had already opened the second stone box. The second stone box still had no plotting mechanism. After opening it, there was a set of black and gold armor inside, but it was only the size of a palm. The Demon Lord Armor. This is the legendary spiritual armor. Heaven-level armor that can withstand the attacks of the most powerful men. Suddenly Uncle Scar shouted and rushed to the second stone box. His eyes were red, and he was obviously extremely excited, but the next moment, Ye Feng patted his shoulder and said, "Uncle Scar, you can't keep your word. The treasure in this second stone box belongs to me. You just said it yourself." Uncle Scar was obviously very reluctant to give up, staring at the palm-sized black gold armor. In the end, he beat his chest and stamped his feet. The strong man shed tears and sighed, "A gentleman's words are hard to catch, so take it." Ye Feng's eyes were filled with unstoppable joy as he grabbed the palm-sized black gold armor in his hand. This set of armor turned out to be a legendary heaven-level weapon, and it was an extremely rare armor-type weapon. The material used to make this demon lord's armor is extremely hard. After all, it was a powerful treasure armor that had followed an unparalleled demon lord in battle. I have to say that although Uncle Scar is a little greedy, he still keeps his promise at critical moments. Ye Feng knew very well that if this set of demon lord armor were spread, not to mention the small Nanyang County, but also the entire Great Yan dynasty, there would be a sensation, and countless strong men would fight for it, and blood would flow like rivers. But Uncle Scar resisted his greed. Although this friend was mysterious, he still had a good heart. Ye Feng thought in his mind and input some Jinqi into the demon lord's armor in his hand. Buzz. Almost at this moment, the palm-sized demon lord's armor suddenly rushed into Ye Feng's Dantian and floated in the sea of Dantian energy. Kacha kacha kacha. Ye Feng. As soon as he thought about it, the palm-sized demon armor inside his body suddenly became full of magic light. Pieces of dark golden armor, like dragon scales, vigorous and hard, instantly covered Ye Feng's entire body surface, even his head. At this moment, Ye Feng's entire body was covered by Demon Lord's armor, and his true face could not be seen. His head was wrapped by a ferocious demon clan helmet, with two cold demon horns that seemed to be able to tear apart. The sky is very domineering. At this moment, Ye Feng's armor was exuding terrifying demonic power, as if he had suddenly become a cold-blooded demon king, overlooking the people. That kind of momentum is very domineering and terrifying, as if the demon king has descended. Young man Feng, you are really lucky. I thought this demon lord's armor had been destroyed in that battle, but I didn't expect it to be intact. It's rare for armor-like weapons to be so powerful. It's so rare. It's a priceless treasure. Uncle Scar was watching from the side, drooling with envy. Receive. With a thought in Ye Feng's mind, the demon lord's armor on his head and the entire body retracted into his body in an instant, and turned into a small palm-sized armor, floating in the sea of qi in his dantian. Not bad. Ye Feng's eyes were overjoyed. The moment he was covered by the demon lord's armor, he felt that his combat power had received an unprecedented boost. This set of demon armor can not only withstand the attacks of peerless warriors, but can also provide the user with a very powerful combat power bonus. This is a truly unique treasure. Extremely rare. And the last stone box. At this time, Ye Feng and Uncle Scar cast their sights on the last stone box. Crunch, crunch. But suddenly at this moment, a hoarse sound like bone friction suddenly sounded. Ye Feng and Uncle Scar's eyes suddenly widened. The black corpse sitting cross-legged in front of them had been dead for endless years, but at this moment, this black skeleton suddenly became very strange. The skull began to rotate slowly. In a pair of empty skull eyes, at this moment, two groups of green soul fires suddenly lit up, staring at the two people in the stone room. The black corpse, which had been dead for endless years, was moving at this time, and its pupils had green soul fire, apparently reviving. This strange scene made Ye Feng and Uncle Scar feel cold and frightened. Fake corpse. Uncle Scar screamed in fright, then jumped out and ran wildly outside. It's scary, Ye Feng also roared. The moment he turned around, he did not forget to put the third stone box into the storage ring, and then ran away. Aha! Aha! Both Ye Feng and Uncle Scar were extremely fast at this time. After all, it was extremely weird for a black corpse that had been dead for endless years to suddenly come to life. They speculated that this corpse was that of the demon lord whom the demon blood sect wanted to resurrect, but I don't know what happened, but the demon lord's body suddenly came to life. Ye Feng yelled, Uncle Scar, didn't you say that your butcher knife can restrain demon practitioners? Why are you running so fast? Little Feng, this is a corpse scam. This is a corpse. How can I conquer demons? Uncle Scar yelled and ran without looking behind him. Chapter 44 The First Inheritance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You are too brave to break into my sleeping place. Whatever you can't escape will become my blood food. Suddenly at this time, a cold and domineering voice suddenly came from the mouth of the black corpse behind. This moment. Buzz. A black magic light suddenly rushed out from under the entrance of the third stone chamber, forming a confinement formation that sealed the entrance to the stone chamber. I'll chop. Uncle Scar slashed at him with his sword, but he was unable to break through the confinement formation. Crack. Ye Feng swiped in the air with one hand, and a space crack appeared, but it was of no use. The confinement formation was originally an invisible force, and the space crack could only cut tangible objects. Oops. Both of them felt their hearts sinking, their steps paused, and they stood at the entrance of the third stone chamber, unable to get out. Ye Feng and Uncle Scar turned around and saw a horrifying scene. At this time, the black corpse slowly stood up from the ground and looked towards them. Are you the demon king who died back then? Uncle Scar asked, holding the butcher's knife in his hand, his hands shaking, obviously very frightened. Ye Feng also had serious eyes, staring at the standing black corpse. He had never seen a corpse resurrected from the dead before. It was too weird and shocking. At this time, in the skull of the black corpse, two groups of green soul fire were like two huge eyes, staring at Ye Feng and Uncle Scar. A hoarse voice as cold as iron came from the skull's mouth. Yes, I have been sleeping for thousands of years. My children finally woke me up. You two human bugs actually dare to plunder my inheritance and armor. It's simply audacious. Boom. At this moment, boundless demonic energy surged out from the body of the black corpse. The black demonic energy made the black corpse gradually grow larger. In the end it turned into a giant corpse more than 10 meters tall, which was very scary. Aha. The pitch-black giant corpse suddenly stretched out a pitch-black bone hand and grabbed the two people not far away. With the butcher's knife in hand, I have the world. Uncle Scar roared, his whole body filled with murderous aura, and he slashed at the big black bone hand with the butcher knife in his hand. When the butcher's knife struck out with an incomparable sword light, which hit the big bone hand at once, causing the big bone hand to pause slightly. This knife, that the giant corpse suddenly let out a surprised tone, but at this time, Ye Feng also took action. Crack, that he made a sharp stroke in the air, and a crack in space appeared, directly cutting and breaking the big black bone hand. Boom, that the big black bone hand suddenly hit the ground from mid-air. The descendant of space power. How is it possible? How can it appear in such a remote place? Suddenly, the giant corpse made a horrifying sound, but the next moment, the demonic energy in his body surged, and the big black bone hand that was cut off by Ye Feng using the space crack grew again. This made Ye Feng and Uncle Scar's eyes darken. At this time, after the giant corpse was briefly frightened, he suddenly and coldly said, "The descendant of space can't reach the 9th level of Lingwu realm. It's really a God-given opportunity. I just need to kill him. If I kill you and plunder the secret seeds of space in your body, then I will be the new generation of space, spread from generation to generation." The tone of the giant corpse was actually full of bloody greed. "Little Feng, run away. Otherwise you will be disemboweled." Uncle Scar suddenly yelled at this time. He took out a golden talisman from the Qianquan bag in his arms. Ye Feng stared at Uncle Scar and said in surprise, "Is this talisman the legendary Buddhist and Taoist talisman that can suppress all monsters and monsters? What are you thinking about? How can I have such a rare talisman?" Uncle Scar rolled his eyes at Ye Feng and said, "This is an explosive talisman." Boom! Almost at this moment, Uncle Scar suddenly threw the golden talisman in his hand and threw it directly into the air. Boom! Along with a violent roar, all the earth and stone roofs on the underground stone chamber collapsed. It turned out that Uncle Scar knew that he could not resist the giant corpse, and the entrance was blocked by the formation. Then simply blast open the stone ceiling on the ground, blast out a passage in the underground world, connect it to the ground, and escape from the ground. But the power of an explosive talisman was not enough, and there was no breach on it. "You are all going to die." The giant corpse naturally knew Uncle Scar's plan, and immediately attacked the two of them in fright and anger. If a passage was really blown out of the ground, and there would be strong men from all the major forces of the human race outside, he, the newly resurrected demon lord corpse, would not be able to withstand it at all. "Little Feng, you block this big guy, and I will continue to blast a passage." Uncle Scar yelled, gritted his teeth, took out a dozen more explosive talismans from the Qianquan bag, and threw them towards the dome high in the sky, and at this time, the bone palm of the giant corpse had been grasped again. "Taiku Dragon Elephant Fist," Ye Feng roared loudly, and at this moment, all the strength in his body penetrated his body, and the golden energy in his body exploded. 6 towering and huge ancient dragon elephants appeared behind him, roaring like a real dragon, capable of breaking mountains and rivers. Boom! Ye Feng's bronze fist collided with the big black bone hand. Buzz! At this moment, a terrifying force as huge as the sea was suddenly transmitted from the big black bone hand to Ye Feng's entire body, and he was knocked back more than 10 steps. However, it successfully resisted the attack of the big black bone hand. "You know, this is a legendary powerful demon king. Although he has just woken up, he is still extremely powerful. This shows how terrifying Ye Feng's current physical strength is." Demon armor. Suddenly at this moment, Ye Feng thought, and the set of black and gold armor floating in the sea of energy in his dantian suddenly covered his whole body, even his head. At the top of the helmet, there are 2 huge dark magic horns pointing toward the sky. They are made of dark gold and are ferocious and sharp, as if they can tear the sky apart. "You are a human, and you can accommodate my powerful armor so quickly." The giant corpse made an angry sound. What he didn't know was that Ye Feng's cultivation of the divine art of creation made the special golden energy in his body like a big melting pot, capable of containing and absorbing the power of any attribute in the world. This is the truly terrifying part of the divine art of creation, and this is also the reason why Ye Feng is not interested in Uncle Scar's inheritance, because the divine secret of creation is the existence of 9 heavens and 10 earths, which is known as the most unparalleled inheritance in the spiritual world at that time. In the whole world, only Emperor Yi Qing and Ye Feng can practice. Chapter 45 Ziyunyi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kill. Ye Feng, who activated the Demon Lord's armor and was covered in black and gold armor, received a huge increase and bonus in his true energy and combat power. Moreover, with the all-round protection of the Demon Lord's armor, Ye Feng actually dared to fight against the giant corpse. Boom! Ye Feng punched out, and a red magic light suddenly lit up on the dark golden metal gauntlet. It was activated at once, forming a red beam with huge lethality, which instantly hit the body of the giant corpse. Dang dang dang! The giant corpse suddenly took several steps back, which made him roar in anger, because the Demon Lord's armor was originally made from the corpse of a giant, but now, Ye Feng used the Demon Lord's armor to injure him. This was extremely frustrating. The Demon Lord's armor is so powerful. Boy Feng, then I don't have to blow up the passage. Let's join forces and kill this Demon Lord directly. Uncle Scar's eyes lit up not far away. The Demon Lord's armor is a heaven-level weapon. The grade is too high. No matter how strong my true energy is, I can't support the use of this armor for too long. We can't kill the giant corpse. I can't hold on for long. Please continue to explode. Passage. Ye Feng immediately shouted at Uncle Scar. Good. Uncle Scar's mouth twitched and he threw out all the explosive talismans in his hand. Boom. With the roar of an explosion that penetrated the sky and the earth, all the soil above his head finally collapsed, and a huge gap appeared above the two people's heads, and dazzling sunlight shone down from above. It exploded. Uncle Scar shouted excitedly, and actually performed a very rare flying martial art, and a pair of purple wings appeared on his back. Feng boy, let's go together. Uncle Scar flapped his wings and grabbed Ye Feng. The two of them passed through the gap in an instant, rushed out of the ground, and came to the surface. Boom! The giant corpse roared angrily in the ground, and the whole earth began to shake, as if he was trying to escape. You must teach me this flying martial arts. On the ground, Ye Feng grabbed Uncle Scar and refused to let him go, his eyes looking very longing. Before entering the titled martial realm, being able to fly is simply an unattainable wish for ordinary warriors, but what Ye Feng never expected was that Uncle Scar actually had flying martial arts. Well, since you have helped me so much, this set of flying martial arts purple cloud wings will be given to you for free. Uncle Scar pointed at Ye Feng's eyebrows, and a piece of martial arts information appeared in Ye Feng's mind. Little Feng, we have divided up the biggest treasure, and I have to leave. Please slowly understand this set of Ziyunyi wings. I hope that next time we meet, you will have become a famous figure. By then, I may still be there. I want to soak up your light. Uncle Scar said, laughed loudly, ran quickly towards the distance, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Ye Feng nodded in the direction Uncle Scar left, and then rushed towards the area at the gate of Demon City. Ye Feng did not choose to leave Xianxia City immediately, because he came to Xianxia City this time. In addition to seizing the wealth in the treasure house, he also had another purpose, which was to break through to the Xianwu realm. The area where the battle is now must have flowed with blood, and there have been countless casualties. That means that there are people there, the majestic blood and life essence. Ye Feng's idea is very simple, that is to sneak into the battlefield of the war, secretly operate the furnace of creation, swallow the infinite blood generated in the war, and strive to break through the final bottleneck of the Lingwu realm and enter the Xianwu realm. On the way, Ye Feng was studying the martial arts information of the flying martial arts purple cloud wings, with the evil talent transformed by the golden magic pill. In just half an hour, Ye Feng's true energy surged, and two pairs of huge purple wings condensed directly behind his back. The entire body of the purple wings is made of condensed qi, exuding a bright purple light. At this time, combined with Ye Feng's set of ferocious black and gold demon armor, he looked like an emperor from the demon clan had descended. Boom! Ye Feng flapped the two purple wings behind his back and soared directly into the air, like a purple rock with supreme power, impacting the sky. At this time, in a corner of the city wall of Demon City, Uncle Scar came to the previous dog hole. He turned back slightly and suddenly saw a figure wrapped in black and gold armor high in the sky in the distance, with two pairs of huge purple wings flapping behind his back, impacting the sky. Uncle Scar was stunned for a moment, then cursed and muttered to himself, pervert. How precious and complicated is flying martial arts. Uncle Scar found this inheritance from the remains of a certain monster clan strongman's tomb. It took him half a year to condense the purple wings, but now, less than half an hour has passed since he gave Ye Feng this set of martial arts, right? But Ye Feng had already successfully comprehended it, condensed the purple cloud wings, and flew to, high in the sky. Uncle Scar was so shocked by the scene in the distance that the corners of his mouth twitched. This little pervert is so annoying. He cursed again, got out of the dog hole in front of him, and disappeared into the vast wilderness outside Tianma City in the blink of an eye. Aha! Ziyunyi's speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, Ye Feng was flying high in the sky, passing through a large area of palaces, pavilions, giant towers and other buildings in Tianma City, and came to the area where the battle was taking place. He dispersed his purple cloud wings and landed from high altitude. The battle area not far away has almost spread from the city gate to the center of Tianma City. Ye Feng was wrapped in Demon Lord's armor, and was enveloped in a strong demonic aura. He was like a fully armed demon soldier, blending into the battlefield. No one would have thought that there would be a human in this set of ferocious black gold armor. At this time, the real strong men were fighting in the sky, and the blood-stained corpses of the strong men, whether demonic or human, kept falling from the high altitude. The ground was stained with blood, and the atmosphere was extremely fierce. Many ancient buildings were cracked and collapsed. Ye Feng felt as if he had arrived at an ancient Shura battlefield. However, the battles on the ground were basically between ordinary demon soldiers fighting against ordinary warriors from the great forces of the human race. Therefore, without any pressure, Ye Feng picked up a blood-stained war spear from the roadside and pretended to rush into the battlefield, but secretly, he was running the oven of creation, frantically absorbing the blood essence on this battlefield, and quickly devouring and refining it. At this moment, the war has been going on for dozens of hours. Countless strong men have fallen, staining the sky with blood and falling to the earth. Chapter 46 Two Strong Men. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ye Feng's face hidden in the Demon Lord's armor was extremely excited, because as soon as he absorbed it, endless majestic life essence and blood surged forward, like long rivers of blood rushing into the oven of his creation. Then, this majestic blood burned crazily in the oven of creation, turning into streams of pure power and injecting it into Ye Feng's entire body. At this moment, the golden energy in Ye Feng's body was growing rapidly. The bottleneck of the 9th level of the Lingwu realm began to loosen under the impact of huge forces, and at the final moment of the breakthrough, Ye Feng's mind touched the golden elixir in his brain. Sure enough, at this moment, a pure power like a vast ocean surged out of the golden elixir and rushed into Ye Feng's limbs and bones. Under the impact of two powerful forces, in just half an hour, the energy reserves in Ye Feng's body had accumulated to an extreme. He ran on the battlefield, plundering all the blood wherever he passed. Suddenly at some point, boom! An extremely huge new martial arts aura spread out uncontrollably from Ye Feng's body. Tianwu realm. Ye Feng looked up to the sky and screamed. He finally broke through the final bottleneck and truly entered the Tianwu realm. First level of Tianwu realm. Second level of Tianwu realm. The third level of Tianwu realm. Because the blood energy on the surrounding battlefield was so majestic, Ye Feng's martial arts cultivation was finally pushed to the third level of Tianwu realm. This is an extremely terrifying improvement. This devil wearing black gold armor is actually a strong man in the Tianwu realm. Let's join forces and kill him quickly. A demon in the Tianwu realm is too lethal, that must be eliminated immediately. At this moment, several cold shouts filled with murderous intent suddenly sounded. Those were several masters from the human race, strong men from the 9th level of the Lingwu realm, rushing towards Ye Feng. Everyone is holding a long sword in their hands, and their sword energy is radiating from their bodies, showing their sharp edges. They are obviously disciples of the sword sect. Boom! But at this time, Ye Feng just blasted out with a palm, and an overwhelming and violent Xianxia, like a giant blow, blew away the group of sword sect disciples in one fell swoop. Click! 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 The swords in their hands were directly shattered into pieces by Ye Feng's true energy. 6 powerful men from the 9th level of the spiritual martial realm were blown away without any resistance. Stand back, you are no match for me. Ye Feng's cold voice came from the noble demon lord's armor. Now Ye Feng has entered the Tianwu realm, and is wearing the demon lord's armor, and his combat power is terrifying to the extreme. Even in the entire demon city, he is probably considered a top expert. These sword sect disciples were naturally unable to withstand his blow. So powerful, several sword sect disciples who were blasted away not far away had blood spurting out of their mouths, and they all turned pale with fright. They were holding broken swords with fearful eyes in their eyes. These sword sect disciples knew very well that if the strong man wearing demon armor just wanted to kill them, they would definitely not be injured as easily as they might be dead by now. Seeing Ye Feng walking towards another battlefield area in the distance, several sword sect disciples discussed in a low voice, "This senior should not be a demon, but a demon. We, the powerful demons in the human race, would not show mercy to us otherwise. We have misunderstood this senior." Demons and powerful demons in the human race are two completely different concepts. The demons are already half demons, cruel and cold-blooded, but the real human demon masters only practice demonic skills, have human righteousness in their hearts, and are mortal enemies with the demons. "Thank you, senior, for showing mercy." The few sword sect disciples there bowed in the direction Ye Feng was leaving to show their respect. At this time, Ye Feng, who was far away, had no time to think about what these sword sect disciples were thinking. He is quickly plundering the majestic blood energy in other areas, but Ye Feng did not use the power he had plundered to strengthen his cultivation. Instead, he stored it in the oven of creation, waiting to find a safe and quiet place to temper his entire body after leaving Tianma City, because Ye Feng had a strong feeling that his divine secret of creation was about to break through to the 2nd level. By then, your physique will transform and evolve again, and the second accompanying talent will also be awakened. Therefore, Ye Feng should take advantage of this opportunity to plunder a lot of blood energy and life essence energy, and store them in the oven of creation, waiting for future use. But after half an hour of crazy plundering, Ye Feng's actions were finally noticed by the real strong man. He is a powerful demon who secretly plunders the blood of living beings underground. High in the sky, the young man in green shirt standing on a huge flying sword suddenly spoke out, his tone filled with shock and anger. "This person is the Jin Tianyang whom Ye Feng and Uncle Scar met in the wilderness outside Tianma City. He is the first of the 10 disciples of the sword sect's outer sect, and he is also the one who attacked Tianma City this time, the leader of 10 powerful disciples. This is a true strong man in the divine martial realm. The sword light on his body is like frost, icy cold, as if it can tear the heaven and the earth apart. Stop him quickly. Don't let him get the advantage." A handsome young man covered in golden armor also made a sudden noise. He was riding on a golden lion with 2 wings on its back. His whole body was emitting golden light, and he looked like a golden god of war. This person's name is Tian Yangshen. He is the commander of the Great Yan Dynasty's Forbidden Army, and he is also a top master at the divine martial realm. The two of them saw Ye Feng, a powerful man in the devil's way, secretly plundering blood and even collecting the storage rings dropped on the battlefield. As for them, they were working exhaustingly high in the sky, fighting bloody battles with the powerful demon leaders in the demon city. This made them so angry that they vomited blood. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, 2 attacks full of resentment and anger came down from the sky with lightning speed, and the direction of the blast was exactly where Ye Feng was at this time. They were Jin Tianyang who split the Qianquan fiery Yang sword, and the golden euphorbia released by Yangxing that day, which could penetrate everything. The attacks of the strong men in the divine martial realm are extremely terrifying, especially Jin Tianyang's sword, the Qianquan Liang sword, which is like a sun falling suddenly, with a sky-splitting edge that can tear everything apart. The kendo martial arts of the Qianquan Liang sword, when used in Jin Tianyang's hands, was many times more powerful than when he used it. Boom! Boom! The powerful attacks of the 2 divine warriors were like rivers in an instant, carrying violent power and pouring down. The momentum was so fierce that it seemed to be able to destroy everything. Chapter 47, Backing Down. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If it were me before, I would definitely run away thousands of miles away, but now I don't have to be afraid. Originally, I just wanted to practice quietly, but you dare to attack me and kill me. Well, you too, today you have to pay the price to leave. A low and domineering voice came from the metal mask on the ferocious armored head. Boom. At this moment, the powerful chi in Ye Feng's body burst out. With the power of the demon lord's armor, the momentum he burst out at this moment was actually comparable to that of a real strong man in the divine martial realm. Taiku Dragon Elephant Fist. Boom. Ye Feng raised his head and punched high in the sky. The momentum was like an ancient god standing up from the earth and striking the sky. A boiling magic light suddenly condensed on the metal gauntlet of his armor. Boom. Wow. The shadows of 6 majestic ancient dragon elephants were instantly cast into this punch. This punch released a thunderous sound wave with boundless power. It even shattered the Qinkuan Liang sword and Tian Yangsheng's golden halberd all at once. What? One punch shattered the attacks of 2 extremely powerful men in the divine martial realm. There is such a powerful demon master hidden on the ground battlefield. What a powerful punch, it makes people feel heart palpitating and suffocated. This punch shocked all the human warriors on the battlefield in Tianma City, as well as the strong ones from the demonic blood sect. They felt an extremely powerful and terrifying aura from the figure in black and gold armor. What? He is so strong. At this time, Jin Tianyang and Tian Yangsheng, 2 extremely talented people, both spoke in horror. That's the devil. How could your inherited armor be worn by a human? But at this time, the one who was most shocked was the demon leader who was fighting Jin Tianyang and Tian Yangsheng in the center of Tianma City. He recognized the armor Ye Feng was wearing. Isn't it the armor of their great demon lord? Oops. The treasure house in the rear has been stolen. The demon leader thought of something and suddenly exclaimed. He was very happy to see that the human race on the opposite side started fighting among themselves, but now, as he stared at the armored figure of the demon lord in the distance, his face, which was supposed to be looking for a good show, suddenly became extremely ugly, quiet. Deadly quiet. At this time, everyone on the entire battlefield stopped what they were doing and became completely silent. Ye Feng's terrifying punch just now shocked everyone. Everyone never expected that there would be such a powerful demon master on the chaotic ground battlefield. At this time, countless eyes were fixed on the tall dark golden armor. The demon lord's armor is made entirely of cold black gold, with 2 huge demon horns on its head, which is ferocious and shocking. That figure was very tall and straight, extremely majestic and tall, like a big spear, standing on the earth, with a sharp edge that could pierce the sky. Ye Feng was now wrapped in demon lord's armor. No one would know his true face, so he let go completely and acted unscrupulously. Wow. Behind him, Ziyunyi wings opened instantly and soared into the sky. It was not like Jin Tianyang and Tian Yangsheng at all. They also have to rely on the flying swords at their feet or flying monsters to float high in the sky. Oh my god. It's the legendary flying martial arts. This mysterious demonic powerhouse definitely comes from a big family. Seeing 2 huge purple wings appearing behind Ye Feng, soaring high into the sky, everyone's eyes were once again shocked. At this time, Ye Feng's eyes were staring at Jin Tianyang and Tian Yangsheng, who were floating in the sky across from him through the cold metal mask, and said indifferently, "You wanted to kill me just now. Should we settle this debt properly? Just forget it." After the words fell, Jin Tianyang and Tian Yangsheng both had gloomy expressions in their eyes. They originally thought it was just a small ant, but it turned out that the ant turned out to be a hidden giant. Jin Tianyang suddenly spoke up and sneered, "I can feel the true martial arts aura behind your armor. You have definitely not stepped into the divine martial realm. You are only so powerful with the help of this special armor on your body, so you still dare to do it now. Threatening us? The use of this armor must be very costly to you, hehe." It has to be said that Jin Tianyang is worthy of being the top 10 disciples of the Sword Sect's outer sect. Not only is he powerful in cultivation, he is also not stupid in his mind. His eyes are extremely vicious and he can directly see Ye Feng's shortcomings. However, Tian Yangsheng, the commander of the Forbidden Army, suddenly took a step back and took out a sparkling crystal stone from the storage spirit ring. This crystal stone gave people the feeling that it was much more advanced than the aura contained in the best spiritual stone. This is a very rare spiritual crystal, which contains very high-level spiritual energy. Although it is only one piece, it is worth 100 top-quality spiritual stones. My friend, I was rude just now. This spiritual crystal, as my compensate for your losses. Xianxia suddenly spoke up, and suddenly took the rare piece of Bai's spiritual crystal was thrown to Ye Feng on the opposite side, then he drove the flying monster under his seat to quickly retreat towards the rear, obviously not wanting to participate in this battle. Ye Feng took the piece of spiritual crystal, and his eyes and the mask showed a look of surprise. In that small crystal, spiritual energy many times richer than the best spiritual stone surged. It was indeed a very rare treasure. Ye Feng was very confused. He didn't know why Xianxia was soft on him, because Jin Tianyang is right, he has the power of the divine martial realm, and he does rely on this set of demon lord armor, and it does consume a lot of money. Xianxia and Jin Tianyang would definitely be able to suppress themselves if they joined forces. However, Xianxia relented and voluntarily withdrew from the combat area. What? Xianxia actually backed down. He is the commander-in-chief of the imperial army of the Great Yan dynasty. He is known as the most talented young man in the imperial city, and he actually backed down. It's a little weird. Throughout the field, many people saw this scene, and the shock in their eyes became more intense. They were staring at the armored figure of the demon lord at this moment. Could this really be an extraordinary figure? At this moment, Jin Tianyang's eyes were extremely gloomy. Xianxia was shrinking back. He might not be able to suppress the mysterious demonic powerhouse by himself. He looked at Xianxia and said angrily, "This is not your character. You actually backed down. If we act together, we will definitely kill this kid hidden in the armor." Xianxia just smiled coldly at Jin Tianyang and said, "It's not your turn to give me guidance on what I decide." You. Jin Tianyang's face suddenly turned livid. Chapter 48 Defeated. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. At this time, Xianxia retreated to the rear, staring at the mysterious armored figure of the demon lord. He muttered in his heart, "It's absolutely true. That punch just now was the legendary ancient dragon elephant fist. This is the inheritance of our great Yan dynasty royal family. It is extremely noble. This mysterious person can actually do this. Martial arts, who is his identity behind the mask? Is he a peerless genius secretly trained by his majesty?" It turned out that the reason Xianxia gave in and quit the battle was because he was confused about Ye Feng's identity. However, the commander of the imperial army may never have thought that Ye Feng's ancient dragon elephant fist was secretly given to Ye Feng by Nangong Muxue, the 9th princess of the Great Yan dynasty, in Qianhua City. High in the sky, 3 strong men, Ye Feng, Jin Tianyang and the leader of the demon tribe, were restraining each other. No one dared to be the first to take action, for fear of being attacked by the other side and reaping the benefits. "Jin Tianyang, do you know what kind of armor this boy is wearing?" Suddenly the leader of the demon clan spoke up, smiled coldly, and said, "It is the strongest armor of our demon clan, the demon lord armor. Heaven-level armor." What? Almost at the moment when the demon leader finished speaking, the entire field suddenly fell into a boil. Swish, swish, swish. Swish, swish, swish. Suddenly, all the eyes full of fiery and greedy were focused on Ye Feng. That set of black and gold ferocious armor is actually the legendary demon lord's armor. Heavenly armor. This is an extremely precious treasure. Priceless. Even Jin Tianyang was suddenly moved. His eyes were fixed on Ye Feng with a deep greed. At this moment, the leader of the demon tribe suddenly seemed to notice something, and he looked towards. Flying away in the direction of Qianhua City's mansion, his loud laughter rang out, "Ha ha ha, Jin Tianyang, I have something to do, so I will leave first. This set of demon lord armor is extremely precious. If you have the ability, you can snatch it away. I will never interfere in your fight." After the demon leader finished speaking, He really left like that and disappeared into the group of ancient buildings in the demon city in the distance. Ye Feng's eyes moved, and he guessed that the demon leader might have received information about the resurrected giant corpse and went to help it resuscitate, but Ye Feng doesn't care at all. Anyway, the most precious treasure trove of demonic city has been divided between him and Uncle Scar. With demon lord armor and purple cloud wings, Ye Feng can leave any time he wants. The reason why he didn't leave was mainly to plunder the majestic blood energy on the battlefield, because this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to plunder the blood energy of so many powerful creatures. At this time, no one noticed in the battlefield below that a simple oven was secretly absorbing a large amount of blood energy. Ye Feng was standing high in the sky, delaying time. He knew very well that whether it was another transformation of his physique or the awakening of the second accompanying talent, huge energy was needed to support it, so he doesn't want to leave yet. If he leaves, he will lose the majestic vitality of the city, so at this moment, even though there were countless greedy eyes staring at him, Ye Feng remained unmoved. Others pose no threat at all. The only one on the field who poses a threat is Xianxia, but he quit for unknown reasons. The only one left is Xianxia. Ye Feng's voice passed through the metal. When the mask came out, he laughed loudly and said, Xianxia, you are still the top 10 disciples of the Sword Sect's outer sect, but now you don't even have the courage to take action against me. Ye Feng suddenly had a crazy idea, that is, to suppress Xianxia, a powerful man in the divine martial realm, and rob him of all his skills. Xianxia was originally extremely greedy for the demon armor on Ye Feng. At this time, he was provoked by Ye Feng and immediately smiled coldly and said, okay, since you want to die so much, then I will help you, my sword sect disciple. If I see a righteous villain like you, I will do justice for heaven and kill you to restore peace to the world. Ha ha ha, that Ye Feng suddenly laughed out loud. Xianxia, just tell me that you covet the demon lord's armor on me. Don't you think it's hypocritical to say so high-sounding? You die. Xianxia's eyes were cold and stern, and his whole body suddenly released a bone-chilling killing intent. A strong man in the divine martial realm is extremely terrifying, and the true energy in his body reaches an extreme level. At this moment, Xianxia released his murderous intention, causing the temperature of the world around the entire demon city to plummet. Fire Yang Universe Sword. Sky-splitting sword technique. At this moment, Xianxia didn't hold anything back, fully unleashed his powerful cultivation, and displayed 2 powerful swordsmanship inheritances in an instant. Boom. He stepped on the flying sword and rushed towards Ye Feng quickly. He waved the long sword in his hand, and the golden blazing sun sword light erupted in full force, piercing everything, shining brightly in the entire dark sky, and actually formed a huge. The sword net was extremely sharp and cut towards Ye Feng. Countless people below watched the battle in the sky, and they were extremely shocked. That was the real battle of the strong. Xianxia is worthy of being a master disciple of the sword sect. Every time he draws his sword, it can trigger the sword light of the great sun. Combined with the sky-splitting sword technique, it can tear everything apart. Some people exclaimed in admiration, feeling that Ye Feng, a fake strongman who relied on the power of armor, was no match for Xianxia. Azure Dragon Exploring Claw Hand. Suddenly at this moment, Ye Feng suddenly spoke up. A huge amount of true energy poured into his right arm from his whole body. Hold head high. At this moment, accompanied by a faint dragon roar, Ye Feng's entire right arm suddenly expanded into a huge and ferocious blue dragon claw. Pieces of green dragon scales, cold and hard, indestructible, tore into pieces the sword light that filled the sky from Xianxia. This set of Qinglong claw-detecting hands is the powerful martial arts that Ye Feng took from 3 Royal Martial Arts Academy disciples. Azure Dragon Exploring Claw Hand. Xianxia in the rear suddenly looked shocked. This is one of the inheritances of the Royal Martial Arts Academy of the Great Yan Dynasty. His eyes were horrified, and he was even more certain that this mysterious magic master was definitely a peerless genius secretly cultivated by the royal family. At this moment, Xianxia looked at the armored figure of the Demon King again, and a kind smile appeared in his eyes. It turns out that His Majesty has arranged everything a long time ago, allowing a peerless genius to lurk into the demon city and steal all the treasures. Suddenly at this time, an exclamation came from the crowd, "Look! Jin Tianyang has been defeated. High in the sky, Ye Feng's power, enhanced by the demon lord's armor, is really terrifying. Coupled with the Ziyunyi wings that allow him to fly and move freely in the high altitude, and the terrifying destructive power of Qinglong's claw-exploring hands, Ye Feng stepped forward and tore off one of Jin Tianyang's arms. Chapter 49 Legendary Figure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Pft. Ah. Jin Tianyang howled miserably, and his entire arm was forcibly torn off. Blood stained the sky. He turned pale and backed away crazily. Can't leave. Ye Feng's cold voice was like the declaration of death. He suddenly stepped forward and stretched out his huge green dragon claws, trying to restrain Jin Tianyang's entire body in his dragon claws. Xianxia Liang Sword. Great Sun Sword Light. Cut. Break. Shatter. Crack. Jin Tianyang roared crazily, unleashed his sword energy to the fullest, and slashed wildly with the long sword in his hand, but he could not cut off Ye Feng's powerful green dragon claw. Suppress me, Ye Feng roared, and the green dragon claw suddenly grabbed Jin Tianyang, making him unable to move. Ah! Jin Tianyang roared, feeling extremely humiliated. He was the first disciple of the Sword Sect's outer sect and had a distinguished status. However, he did not expect that he would be suppressed by a small Tianwu realm warrior under the spotlight of everyone. This devil's genius has such terrifying fighting power. Countless people below let out shocking exclamations. Which demon Dao Xiao dares to be so unscrupulous and actually attack the disciples of my Zhiqian alliance? Are you tired of living? Kneel down. Suddenly at this moment, a terrifying and majestic sound, with a mighty momentum of 3,000 meters, sounded throughout the entire sky. Jin Tianyang, who was being held by the green dragon's claws, heard this majestic voice and immediately shouted with great joy, "Senior Brother Long! You are here! Save me quickly! Kill this rebellious demonic bastard, Zhiqian alliance! Senior Brother Long!" At this moment, everyone in the room, including Tian Yangsheng, suddenly tightened their expressions and felt extremely frightened. Their eyes were full of awe and fear. Because, the number one disciple force in the Sword Sect, the Zhiqian Alliance, and Long Zhiqian, who founded the Zhiqian Alliance, is definitely a legendary figure in the minds of countless people. Rumor has it that Long Zhiqian's cultivation is unparalleled. He entered the titled martial realm as early as 10 years ago. Now he is even more unfathomable. He is ranked lower than one person in the Sword Sect and higher than 10,000 people. The Zhiqian Alliance he founded has countless members, and its influence spreads throughout the great Yan dynasty. He can turn his hands into clouds and his hands into rain, and is respected as Senior Brother Long by countless people, even many elders in the Sword Sect, as well as many princes and princes in the great Yan dynasty, were in awe when they saw the dragon covering the sky. This is a true legend, the most famous first genius in the great Yan dynasty. Moreover, it is rumored that Long Zhiqian's true identity and origin seem to be extremely closely related to one of the four supreme overlords in the entire southern territory. Jin Tianyang stared at Ye Feng in front of him, with a cruel smile on his face, and shouted ferociously, "Boy, you are dead. You are dead. Shut your mouth forever." But at this moment, Ye Feng's eyes were fierce, and his green dragon claws crushed Jin Tianyang's entire body into pieces. Wow! Jin Tianyang's huge blood energy and skill in the divine martial realm were immediately sucked into the oven of creation. Ah! From the broken body, an earth-shattering roar of terror came out. Jin Tianyang never expected until his death that Ye Feng would be so decisive and bold, and actually kill him in front of everyone's attention. What? Ye Feng's actions shocked everyone on the field. Even Tian Yangsheng yelled, "My friend, you are too impulsive. This Jin Tianyang is from the Zhiqian Alliance." Important person, that majestic voice just now was that of Long Zhiqian. He should be not far away from here. That is a legendary figure. 10 of you are not as good as one finger of Long Zhiqian. You will Jin Tianyang kill him. He will be furious with his thunder and will wipe you out from this world. Sure enough, at the moment Xianxia's voice fell, buzz. In this world, an unparalleled majesty suddenly surged out. You dare to kill Jin Tianyang in front of me. You are too courageous and treasonous. So you should die to atone for your sins. Accompanied by a majestic voice, a tall fuzzy figure stepped from the mountains in the distance. He stretched out a hand from thousands of meters away, and then in the sky above Tianma City, the vitality of heaven and earth suddenly rioted. A big black hand covering the sky, like a mountain, heavy and towering, appeared all of a sudden, facing Yi. The wind pressed down. It's over. Long Zhetian has taken action. The fate of this amazingly talented demon genius is destined to die. What a pity, that everyone looked at the big black hand covering the sky. This divine method made everyone tremble all over and couldn't help but crawl down to welcome the arrival of a great being, buzz. The big black hand covered the sky and sun, covering it from the sky, making people suffocating. Being able to use such a powerful method from thousands of meters away is really frightening. He is indeed a legend in our great Yan dynasty. Among the surrounding dynasties, there are legends about dragons covering the sky. This method is like a god, who can stop it. Countless people were amazed, even Tianyangsheng, the commander of the imperial army in the great Yan royal family, sighed deeply at this time. He knew that the devil's genius was bound to die. Buzz. At this moment, Ye Feng looked at the big hand covering the sky, and his expression in the metal mass became extremely gloomy, because he did feel an overwhelming coercion descending on his body. To be able to attack and kill such a huge hand covering the sky from a distance of several thousand meters is truly shocking. Although Ye Feng was arrogant, he also had some sense. He had no doubt that if he faced someone like Long Zhetian face to face, with his current level of cultivation, even if he was wearing Demon Lord armor, he would be killed instantly. My cultivation level is still too low. If my cultivation level is the same as his, what do I have to fear? At this moment, Ye Feng's heart suddenly surged with an extremely strong thought. Ye Feng also knows very well that as he continues to come into contact with powerful forces and truly enters the entire Great Yan dynasty, and even the entire southern region, he will definitely encounter more and more powerful enemies and threats. If you want to remain calm and survive in this dangerous land, you must become stronger and stronger. Only those who are powerful enough to dominate everything, just like the supreme emperor in myths and legends, can they be proud of the world and be invincible in the world. Kill. Facing the big hand covering the sky, Ye Feng suddenly surged with an aura that broke through the sky. If you take action in front of me right now, maybe I will be directly wiped out by you. But if you want to suppress me from thousands of meters away, you are thinking too highly of yourself. Ye Feng roared loudly, with a proud tone in his voice. Jin Tianyang is greedy for the armor on my body and wants to kill me to seize the treasure. It is natural for me to kill him, but you, Long Zhetian, are indiscriminate. If you don't obey, you are treasonous. Directly kill someone with such a narrow mind. What qualifications do you have to be the commander-in-chief of an alliance? What qualifications do you have to be called a legend by countless people? I think you are just a narrow-minded dictator. Chapter 50 Wedding. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wow! The moment Ye Feng finished speaking, everyone on the field was excited. How many years? How dare someone say such words to Long Zhetian? Although what Ye Feng said is correct, you must know that Long Zhetian is just like his name. He has always covered the sky with one hand. Those who follow me will prosper, and those who go against me will perish. No one has ever dared to disobey Long Zhetian like this, and no one dared to question the decision and will of a legendary figure under the spotlight. This son is proud, and his martial arts will is as strong as iron. He will not bow down in the face of a legendary figure like Long Zhetian. If he does not die young, he will definitely become a famous figure in the future. At this time, many people looked at Ye Feng, and what appeared in their eyes was a kind of deep admiration. Good boy. It would be great if I could become a brother with you. Tianyangsheng's blood was boiling at this moment. Boom! At this moment, Ye Feng suddenly took action. He waved his fists, spread out two pairs of huge purple cloud wings behind his back, and punched the sky covering hand high in the sky with a fierce punch. Boom! With this punch, all of Ye Feng's combat power exploded, and a terrifying and majestic force burst out from his fist. Crack! That the big hand covering the sky was suddenly blasted open with a gap. Aha! Ye Feng quickly fled towards the distance. Ziyunyi gave Ye Feng unparalleled speed, and in the blink of an eye he disappeared into the mountains outside Tianma City. Buzz! At this time, a tall and majestic young man finally appeared on the demon city. He has a stern face, tall body, shoulders towering like a god, and majestic eyebrows, giving people a sense of majesty, unfathomable vastness and heaviness. He simply stood there, not releasing any breath, but despite. However, this also made everyone in the audience feel a heavy sense of suffocation. Long Zhiqian looked at the direction of Ye Feng's escape, and there was a vision of the divine light disappearing in his eyes. He just spoke indifferently, like a high and mighty king, and his majestic voice that would not tolerate disobedience spread throughout the great Yan dynasty. All members of the Zhiqian alliance use all their strength to search for a person wearing demon lord's armor, and kill them directly if they find them. I can exchange his head for a heavenly weapon. Wow! The moment Long Zhiqian's words fell, the entire field, and even countless people in the entire great Yan dynasty were shocked. Heavenly weapon? How generous is this? At this time, countless powerful men in the entire great Yan dynasty were alarmed, and their eyes showed deep greed. They wished they could immediately find the figure wearing the demon lord's armor that Long Zhiqian mentioned, cut off his head, and offer it to Long Zhiqian. At this time, Ye Feng, who was frantically escaping from Tianma City, also heard this majestic voice. His eyes suddenly became extremely cold. Long Zhiqian, you are really willing to kill me? Ye Feng felt solemn in his heart. This Long Zhiqian had thrown out a heavenly weapon. He wanted to make the whole world his enemy. Humph, at worst, I won't be able to use the demon lord's armor for some time to come, and no one will be able to recognize me. Ye Feng's eyes were full of murderous intent, and he thought to himself, not only that, I can't wait to join the sword sect. Long Zhiqian, you are in the light, I am in the dark, I have nothing to be afraid of. Yes, just wait, I will destroy everything for you step by step. In the battle of Tianma City, Ye Feng undoubtedly became the biggest winner. Not only did he plunder a lot of wealth in the treasure house, but he also obtained the demon lord's armor. The legend of a mysterious magic genius suddenly spread throughout the vast territory of the great Yan dynasty. Ye Feng heard a lot of rumors while walking on the road these days, in addition to the rumors that he is the prodigy of the demonic way, which is talked about by others. There is also the follow-up after his departure. Long Zhiqian was indeed very powerful. Without any effort that day, he directly suppressed the newly revived demon lord's corpse with one hand and imprisoned it, as if he wanted to sacrifice some of his treasures. The entire demonic blood sect was also wiped out by numerous besieged powerful men from various major forces. A huge demon city was destroyed and became history from then on. Ye Feng took the demon lord's armor back into his Dantian Qi Si. And along the way, he rushed towards Nanyang County. During this period of time, he could feel that as long as he worked hard, his divine art of creation would rush into the second heaven. By then, his combat power would have greatly increased. After practicing outside for so long, Ye Feng knew that it was time for him to return to the Yi clan in Nanyang County. I haven't been back for so long. I wonder if the eldest lady Yi Xianxia has left the family and returned to the sect. The eldest lady has said before that she wants to take me to the sword sect with her. She probably hasn't left the Yi clan. Ye Feng thought secretly in his heart. In the oven of creation, there are majestic life essences, as well as the powerful skills of Jin Tianyang, a strong man in the divine martial realm, all waiting for him to refine. So far, for Ye Feng, it is the safest place to practice in the Yi clan. For 3 days and 3 nights, Ye Feng was on the road. Dang Nanyang County, the huge city appeared in the field of vision again, and Ye Feng actually felt a long-lost feeling in his heart. This time he stayed in the wilderness for a really long time, but now, he is finally back. But now, he is already a warrior at the Tianwu realm. In this Nanyang County, he may already be considered a top expert. Of course, Ye Feng knew that the mysterious Mai old man in the Yi clan was definitely a peerless strongman who had surpassed the 4 realms of basic martial arts. The shocking sword attack that the old man Mai made with his wooden sword is still a shock to Ye Feng when he carefully comprehends it. He guessed that the old man might be a swordsman king who surpassed the Sword King. This time I will be in seclusion in the Yi clan, and I will practice the divine art of creation to the second level. After my physique and talent have transformed, I will go to the sword sect. Ye Feng secretly planned in his heart and stepped into Nanyang County. He returned directly to the Yi clan, but Ye Feng discovered something unusual. The Yi clan's mansion, which used to be solemn in the past, now has a festive atmosphere, with many rooms decorated with red flowers. "Brother, what are we, the Leaf clan, celebrating?" Ye Feng looked confused, grabbed a young man passing by, and asked aloud. "Little brother, you have just returned to the clan from outside." The young man said with a smile, "The family elders have decided a few days ago that the eldest lady Xianxia will be betrothed to the young city lord Chu He of the city lord's mansion. The eldest lady herself has agreed, and the wedding ceremony will be held in 3 days. They are married, they are both talented disciples of the sword sect, it will definitely be a good story." "What?" Hearing what the young man said, Ye Feng's eyes suddenly changed.